This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Good morning and thanks for getting up with us on your Saturday. I'm China Green. This morning on Sunrise.
And I look to my left and there's just this huge, gaping hole.
An unbelievable and frightening sight on an Alaska Airlines flight out of Portland. We talked to passengers who watched a section of the plane disappear during a flight. Plus, a popular center for homeless people in the Dalles is closed. How neighbor complaints led to the shutdown. But before we get to all that, let's check in with Daisy Caballero for a first look at our Saturday forecast. Good morning, Daisy.
Hey, good morning, China. Good morning to all of our viewers. It has been an absolutely busy morning for us in our region. I mean, just take a look at all the rain. And we're also talking mountain snow. Yes, you heard right. Check out Timberline. It is full-blown snowing out at Timberline, 23 degrees. And the snow is here to stay really for the next 7 days or so. We will, of course, talk about all of this in detail coming up in my full forecast. But currently here in the Rose City, 42 degrees, those winds coming out right about 6 miles an hour, definitely have calmed down within the last, 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes or so. We were seeing upwards to 20 miles an hour. Sustained winds, a little bit gusty as we're looking over to McMinnville, a little bit more as we're looking over in Troutdale as well. But again, not too concerning at these hours. Current temperatures right now, 39 out in Forest Grove, 41 in Hillsboro, 39 King City, and we're seeing those 30s over east, 46 degrees for Pendleton. So here's a really quick look at your weather headlines. Rain to showers for today, and then we will actually see a little bit of that sun, believe it or not, for the second half of our Saturday. Heavy mountain snow this weekend, upwards to 20 inches of snow all the way through tomorrow. Again, we'll talk more about this coming up.
It was just like a part of the wall that flew off.
An unbelievable sight on a flight out of PDX after a chunk of the side of the passenger plane disappeared, leaving a gaping hole. And despite the close call, it ended with wheels down and everyone safe. The emergency happened shortly after takeoff on a flight headed from Portland to Ontario, California. Alma McCarty talked to passengers on board that flight and tells us how everything unfolded.
We just heard a loud bang or a boom. And I look up and the air masks are out, popped down. And I look to my left and there's just this huge gaping hole.
A mid-flight scare for passengers on Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 from Portland, Oregon to Ontario, California Friday. Elizabeth sharing her video from a couple rows back on the 737.
First I thought it was the emergency door, but there was no door there. It was just a part of the wall that flew off.
You know, the breathing masks dropped. They work.
Evan Smith, who was sitting in row 20, says the loud bang came just moments after the pilot announced they'd reached 10,000 feet.
It shows you how structurally strong those planes are. You could blow a hole like that because the hole was about as wide as a refrigerator and about 2/3 as high when I finally got to see it later.
Passengers report a teen had his shirt ripped off after the paneling blew out.
And the mother was holding on to him, and she said her son's cell phone and some stuff blew out of the plane, and there was stuff blowing around back where they were because they were back where the wind was.
Just to pressure, we're declaring emergency. We need to come down to 10,000.
This was the call to air traffic control as the plane gets closer to PDX.
Yes, we are emergency. We are depressurized. We do need to return back to. We have 177 passengers.
Flight trackers show the plane was back on the ground just before 5:30.
They got us down safe.
Those on board applauding the poise and professionalism of the flight crew and fellow passengers.
We could feel the air and it was very loud, but I'm glad everyone stayed calm and everyone had their seatbelts on.
Everything went swell. Like I said, the cabin crew did an excellent job. Pilot did a great job. Can't say anything bad about them at all.
Both the FAA and TSB will be investigating the situation, and the passengers we spoke with were all a little shaken up, but very calm and collected given the situation. So here's some of the things that we know about the specific aircraft involved. It's a Boeing 737-9 MAX. It's less than a year old. Alaska's version can seat 178 passengers along with 6 crew, meaning it was nearly full on this flight. New this morning, a more than 5-hour-long standoff ended peacefully with a suspect in custody in the Hazelwood neighborhood. It all started just after 10 o'clock last night. Police responded to calls of a man pointing a gun at people in a restaurant parking lot along Southeast Stark. When police got there, the man retreated to the breezeway of a nearby apartment building. The crisis negotiation team and they were both sent out and neighbors were evacuated. The man eventually surrendered just before 3:30. He is now in police custody. Gresham police are trying to find the driver who hit a motorcyclist, then fled the scene. Angel Blackburn's wife tells us that he just started riding last summer, and she and their 2 kids often ride in a car behind him. That's exactly what they were doing New Year's Eve in Gresham at the time of the crash. Angel was stopped at a red light on Division Street when the suspect hit his motorcycle, then ran him over.
It was as if as soon as I got that window rolled down for my son to wave, the car just came out of nowhere, hit him from behind. And then next thing you know, he's in the street in front of me and the car's running him over. And all I saw was a flash of red because I was more focused on if my husband was alive or not.
Blackburn survived, but with serious injuries. His wife Audrey tells us that he's been in the ICU for 5 days and has had surgeries on his spine and legs. Police have this video to go on. They say it shows the suspect vehicle stop nearby. 2 people get out and walk away. If you can help, you're asked to call Gresham Police. There's an arrest in a major car theft case after investigators uncovered an illegal towing operation where the suspect allegedly trafficked a stolen car and stolen cars and then sold them to Portland scrap metal businesses. Catherine Cook has more on what led to an arrest.
Pictures from Portland police show officers arresting a person they believe was involved in an illegal towing operation. The suspect, 53-year-old Joseph Allen Beard, allegedly sold stolen cars for scrap metal. Police arrested him Friday morning near Northeast 162nd and Halsey. It's part of a months-long investigation by the Multnomah County DA's office's Auto Theft Task Force, dubbed Operation Mistletoe. Deputy DA Cody Linderholm.
The whole purpose of this task force and my focus has been going after the bigger offenders, and we have gotten them. We've gotten prison time.
In this case, investigators believe Beard trafficked stolen vehicles through an illegal towing company called Mader's Auto Recycling. They say the tow truck he was driving wasn't licensed. Between August and November of last year, investigators say a representative of Mader's Auto Recycling sold 80 cars to Rivergate Scrap Metal on North Columbia Boulevard. Investigators found at least 5 of the 80 cars were stolen, and about 17 of them appear to have false vehicle ID numbers. In all, investigators say Rivergate paid $29,000 for the cars.
Looking at the laws on the books and looking at our investigations, I think it is a much bigger issue than we think. I think the laws surrounding scrapyards are outdated.
Investigators say Beard also used fraudulent DMV possessory lien foreclosure forms when dealing with the stolen cars. The forms are meant for cars that are impounded by government request, then auctioned off. But investigators say that none of the cars sold were actually towed by government request. Linderholm says it's just one more big picture problem this case brings to light.
It is possible that people don't know a vehicle is stolen, but I think we need to have a more robust due diligence process when you are intaking a vehicle when it could be somebody's livelihood or a community member's lifeline out there.
Beard is facing 22 charges, including trafficking in stolen vehicles, first-degree forgery, and first-degree theft. The case is still under investigation. A former leader of a nonprofit working to revitalize a Portland neighborhood is now accused of misusing funds. The leader worked for Alberta Main Street, a group focused on supporting small businesses in Northeast Portland's Alberta district. The Oregon Department of Justice confirms it has launched an investigation into the organization and has handed it to the Multnomah County DA's office, which is conducting a criminal investigation. So far, no criminal charges have been filed. The homeless crisis is not just a Portland issue. We're looking at one way it's playing out in the Dalles. A day center there that serves homeless people is now closed after neighbor complaints, and the city accused the nonprofit St. Vincent de Paul's of creating a public nuisance. Officials say they were in violation of an ordinance that requires businesses to be responsible for much of what happens within 300 feet of their building. According to the records, someone has been arrested or cited within 300 feet of the day center 34 times in just a month.
There's feces everywhere. I try to walk my dogs every day and I have to pull them away from it. We've had people in our house. I've been attacked.
We're just looking for structure and a way to be able to move above society's judgment.
There are other resources in town for people to get food and clothes, but not another option for a shelter like this. The Day Center hopes the closure will only be temporary as it works with the city on how to resolve the issues.